Hello, this is Angela Bennett from Advice for Solutions Detective in Law series. I'm filming here outside of the Selkirk Sheriff Court today on Monday the 19th of January 2026, in which the case has just been heard against a black woman, Angela Bennett, and basically there is a case that needs to be heard on the 3rd of February 2026 before, we believe, Sheriff Paterson. Now, the case was called because apparently Sheriff Paterson had written out an arrest warrant to have the black woman arrested for a non-payment of 98332. Now, on the sheriff's warrant, it clearly stated to pay £5 a week. Now, Sheriff Paterson clearly wrote out that warrant illegally, and he'd done it because he's racist, he'd done it because he's sexist. There's clearly something wrong with the warrant, because in no way there is a vast difference between paying £5 per week and paying 98332. So clearly, why would he have written out that warrant? Why did he do this? Well, clearly, he's basically not of sound mind and he's not of capacity. Because clearly, if you owe money and you pay it, and you pay in excess, you wouldn't be called here to the Sheriff Court as a defendant, as an offender. You'd basically be left alone and that would be the end of the matter. But in Sheriff Paterson's books, who wrote the warrant out on the 26th of April 2024, he clearly stated that the woman was cited to appear. Appear when? Where? Why? The reason why he wrote the warrant out is clearly because he's racist, he's sexist, he has a perversion against black women. Because clearly, when you pay a bill, whether it's a bill for a council tax or another bill, a legal bill, and you've paid it, you shouldn't be pursued, you shouldn't be persecuted. But in Sheriff Paterson's book, you should be. Now, clearly, where does the law stand in that? Sheriff Paterson today wouldn't answer to the fact that he didn't cite the person to appear because he didn't have the evidence, and neither does the Procurator Fiscal. Now, clearly, in this case, this is a setup. Now, you have heard of Winston Silcott, who was framed for the murder of Keith Blakelock, because the police doctored the documents, the statement, and stated that there were in evidence against Winston Silcott. This is not so dissimilar, but in a sense that it's actually a judge, a sheriff, who's writing out the paperwork and forging and being fraudulent. Now, we have reported Sheriff Peter Paterson to the Police Scotland, and we have a crime number, because he clearly wrote out an arrest warrant that doesn't fit with the situation, because clearly £5 a week isn't 98332. So there's some fraud, there's some corruption, and there's something else going on. When the three police officers, Ben Rodriguez, Peter Bradley and Keith Murray, turned up at the address on the 1st of May 2024, they manhandled the black woman. They pushed her to the floor. She shouted for help because she knew she'd paid. She said she'd paid and paid over the amount. She had the documentation to prove she had paid. But these police officers clearly didn't want to know. All they could see in their mind was red. They saw a black woman and they saw red. So the danger in being black is being black. And the danger of existence in being black is also serious, because you could just at a whim and a stroke of a pen become an offender in the eyes of the criminal justice system. Now, Sheriff Peter Paterson is of the view that the woman's a law graduate, and so therefore she can represent herself. Well, that's not correct, because under the Advice and Assistance of Representation Scotland Regulations 2003, the person is entitled to a lawyer. They are entitled under Article 6. Sheriff Peter Paterson is refusing to have this case heard at a higher court, claiming that police officers are hurt. But if police officers are hurt, there should be a jury trial, surely. It's serious, isn't it? Why would he want to cover up that issue of being heard in a higher court with a jury? It's because Peter Paterson knows he wrote that warrant out, it was illegal, and he wrote it out fully knowing that the amount that was due is £5 per week at not 98332. So here we are. There's no representation for the black woman. She's in a situation where Article 6 is definitely in breach. So thank you for listening, and we'll keep you informed of the next stage. And just remember, keep yourself safe and be aware of what's going on out there, because it could be you next, the subject of the criminal justice system's heinous ways of dealing with black people through a system of hatred. Goodbye.